What's up, Jay?
Oh no, you're fine. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah.
The feed.
I need to get some.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Chipotle real quick.
I'm cool with that, bro. I could be here as long as we need to. I just can't go nowhere else. Yeah. Can't leave Nikki there all night. I only gave her one meal. she rationed out.
Give her a last fork.
Yeah.
Little baby ass fork. What's up, y'all? Get ready to break it down and level up. Welcome to Doing Numbers, your number one financial literacy podcast in the world. Clap it up. I'm your host, Olu.
I'm your host, Scott.
So bring your pen and pad because it's about to get real.
That's a fact.
Scott, what's happening?
Nothing, man. We got a very special episode today. Might get our subscribers a little lower today.
You think lower?
I think so.
I think it's gonna get it up a little bit.
You know,
I think
women-
we got some real good shareable content on today.
Women hate to hear men make points.
And today we're gonna talk about what men really want. So ladies, I hope you're paying attention. And we're gonna make it all make sense here on our financial literacy platform. Hopefully by the end of this, you have a vehicle or a resource where you can steer and have these conversations with your partner.
Cause y'all always asking, what do y'all really want? Y'all don't know what y'all want. We be trying to give y'all what y'all want. Y'all don't even know. And y'all be on Facebook asking all these impromptu questions, putting people on the spot. We got y'all here today.
And quite frankly, it's hard. Men, a lot of men are blatant in what they say, and women can't handle that.
Yeah.
So sometimes we bite our tongue, and it puts us even in a tough situation because what we biting our tongue on might be that topic or point that we need to drive home in order for it to click.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that, we could be the release of the tongue for a lot of y'all in these moments of needing this conversation.
That's a fact.
So what you got, Scott?
So everybody's yelling about gender roles, but no one's asking why nobody can afford them. Today on Doing Numbers, we're not asking what women want. We're asking what men really want and whether anybody can truly afford them. So how do you feel about the call to being a man for a woman? What does that feel like for you? Or what does that look like?
Of course, you think of provider.
Uh,
I think that's probably the first thing that you think of. But what is a provider? We've been programmed to believe that this is what a provider actually is.
Who created that narrative, do you think?
That's a great question. And that's probably some research that I'll need to do on my own to find out where that term was coined from. And then who thought of it? Like who gave the stamp on that particular person to say, yeah, we're stamp on the word provider. And it was by John Thomas. Like who gave the stamp on a lot of this stuff that we agree to out here?
Right. And back to your point, I think that all this learned behavior, you're right. I think it does come from somewhere. And I also believe that it was a leverage. It was a tool for leverage because women didn't have a lot of rights. They didn't have a lot of equity in a relationship. And that has to be substantiated somewhere. And I think that provider role was the key. But neither here nor there. I have to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What do you think, as a man, generally most men want? Not even just in relationships, but for themselves.
I think men want, and, I'll speak for myself. I think I would like to control my destiny. So control. I would like control. Now, how abusive you are with that control, that's to be determined, based off of how you are as a man. But I think overall, the silver lining across the board for most men would be to control. I want to control my situation. I want to, control my finances. I want to control my future. I want to have control of my domain, where I live, my domicile. If you don't have control of your house, a lot of what you do outside of your home just falls into shambles. So I think for a man, it's just control. And then what level of control, that's up to you. If you want to be abusive with it, I hate that for you, but it is what it is. But if you can maintain control and balance it to where it benefits your partner and you, you might have something there.
That's a fair point.
What about you? What you think?
I think generally every man wants peace and prosperity for himself.
I was going to say peace, but I ain't want to sound like a
cliche.
Yeah.
I think it's true. I think every man in his heart of hearts wants not to struggle, to be happy.
Mhm.
And I think there aren't enough mediums for happiness for men because I don't think men's emotions are taken seriously. And I don't think men take their own emotions seriously.
Yeah.
We come up in societies where we are programmed out of that,
Mm-hmm.
where it's not okay to display emotion or it's not okay to say you have a problem
Right.
that you don't know how to deal with. Saying that you stumped or you disenfranchised is a weakness for a man.
Mm-hmm.
I think on a prosperity tip, we become programmed to think that struggle is essential to being a man
Mm.
and overcoming that struggle. But I don't think that is false. I just think the narrative behind it is.
Okay.
I was watching this series on Netflix called Forever. It's like a coming of age story about this young boy who's not really socially established, and he finds this girl that he reestablishes a relationship with this girl that he went to grammar school with, and they follow this. But that's not the point. The dad in this series is played by Wood Harris from Chicago, and in this scene, his son is telling his dad that he's not really ready to talk to the girl because they had just broke up XYZ, and it's easier for him to block him. And the dad was like, no, son, like, easy is not the goal. A man has to go through fire to see who he is on the other side.
Mm.
And that part I agree with when it comes to being, I guess, tried and tested.
Mm-hmm.
The struggle. I agree with that part of the struggle. But what I don't agree with is that if you're not struggling or if you've had an easy life, you're then not considered to be a man.
Mm.
Because I think life brings its own challenges enough without the world putting more onto them.
Word.
But what I think men really want is peace and prosperity, man,
That's good. I
for
like
himself outside of relationship. In a relationship, I think men want to be a sort of a superhero for his
Mhm.
family or his woman, or if you adhere to this type of lifestyle, their partner. You know what I'm saying?
that. Mm-hmm.
I feel like you always want to be the apple of somebody else's eye
For
as
sure.
a man. And I think we have a people pleasing complex when it comes to that.
Do you think that submission was a natural thing? Was it a normal thing? And now is it more of a consumerism thing? Like, in order for someone to be submissive, you have to pay a price for that and a hefty bag for that. Or do you feel like,
You asking as a man from a man's perspective?
from a man's perspective? Because ultimately we want our partner to be submissive.
Oh, do
to
you
a
think
degree.
it costs a lot to a man to be submissive?
No, for a woman too.
Absolutely. I think
And has it ever been like that? I mean, has it always been like that? Or are we now in the new day and age where we've attached consumerism to being submissive?
consumerism, as in spending money.
I'm spending money to get you to do this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that was always a part of the initial plan, and I think that takes us back to your provider aspect,
Mhm.
right? Like, if we disenfranchise women in the household enough to rely on the man, then the only source of what she needs to survive or to be fulfilled comes from that man. So it's a reliant relationship there, and I think consumerism is a big part of that. I think it costs a lot for a woman to be submissive because it's innate for her energy to check the man.
Mm.
And in that type of dynamic, it doesn't make space for that
Mhm.
relationship, especially if she's in fear of losing that provider.
So is it a non-monetary expense that the woman is paying on their behalf and is monetary for men, or vice versa?
I think it's monetary for both parties because if a woman doesn't have a voice in a house, how could she establish what she is or isn't good at? And then you taking away income from that household by stifling the gifts that woman has.
Mm.
I think men look for control in the wrong places. And I think most women miss the point that submission is one of their biggest superpowers in a relationship. I think women abuse the act of submission because they feel like their ego is being taken advantage of, or they're not being heard, or XYZ, but you get more bees with honey.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And I think in relationships, it's hard to navigate that dynamic if you lead with ego anyway on both sides. And I think what men want out of that situation is to feel respected and loved. no matter what the circumstance is.
Mhm.
But the disconnect comes from the lack of respect of emotion.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like that emotion comes from somewhere.
Mhm.
If you can see past the emotion, you can address the problem.
Would you weigh your time over your money if you wanted your woman to be submissive?
I couldn't weigh my time over my money because both are essentially hers.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Talk to me.
Me personally, bro, I don't get hung up on, or I try not to get hung up on what things look like outside our relationship, because if I actually work on the relationship, what's displayed will be as pure as it can be anyway.
Mhm.
You have to take it or leave it no matter what you see. But I don't have a woman. I don't have a wife. I don't have a fiance. I have a partner.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't look for that in their relationship.
Mhm.
I got somebody who has an equal voice to mine in my house. And it's not that I still can't be the man of the house because of that.
Mhm.
She didn't make me feel that way.
Mm.
And a lot of people struggle. They start out their relationship struggling through ego, so they can't even get to the main points of what would make their relationship successful.
Mm.
Um,
I think, and something just downloaded here for me, man. I want
Mhm.
to say this real quick. One, I want to take it a step back. Make sure you get with a group. Find you some group out there, whether it's an all men's group or
get your community.
a psychologist, somebody that you could sit down and talk to just iron out a lot of what you feel. I've been fortunate enough to join a group called Brunch with the Bros. I brought them up before, where they do a hell of a job as far as allowing men to feel safe, allowing them to be heard, and then also coming together as a community to strategize on that one particular person, how we can make this next brother better.
That's dope.
They don't focus on the wider scale of things of like, oh, okay, well, here's a blanket way to make things better. No, we heard you. Here's specific tools that you can use in your specific situation. A lot of us men, we don't really get specific tools for our specific situations.
Mm.
And I think that's what affects us in a lot of situations, especially when it comes to finances, it comes to our relationship, and then talking finances within our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If the woman is not going to make you feel safe and heard, you're not going to release any information. You're not going to ask certain questions. So it's going to continuously put you in a situation of you a op. But in reality, you know, both of you, the woman doesn't know how to bridge that gap between I don't understand, you know, what your problem is and we need to figure out a solution, and vice versa. The man doesn't understand what her problem is and he's not affluent enough to find a solution to it. So we begin to butt heads.
Mm. And another point to make clear, emotions aren't exclusive to women. I think
100%.
a lot of women miss an opportunity to make their man feel secure and validating his feelings, listening, and then addressing what she can do better or change, or what approaches the man might be missing out on addressing his own emotions
Mm-hmm.
that you've already become an expert on. Every emotion experience is not to be taken personally. Sometimes it might not have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
But you have a essential opportunity to step into that fold and say, look, while you running around and you focus on this thing, you missing this point over here. And that can maybe take away from your invalidation or your insecurity or XYZ. But instead of that, we experience our partner being insecure about something that we going through internally.
Mm.
So sometimes what men really want is just to be heard
Yep.
and seen.
Yeah, man, I agree. And I'm gonna take this from Keston's book, man.
I like Kesson, man.
Keston's a good dude.
Yeah.
So we were leaving a Brunch with the Bros meeting, and you know, I was just talking to him about my situation and things that, you know, I just want to continuously work on in my relationship. And he said one thing that, you know, me and my wife do, or what we've switched and you know made normal in our conversations, is that we have agreements rather than expectations.
Mm.
And I think that was key.
What
And
do you
that
mean
was
by that?
huge. So with expectations, you subjective to get let down.
Mm-hmm.
you know, your feelings are going to be more involved because, you know, you were let down. And now it's just causing a destruction in the home that really doesn't need to be there because, again, there's a lack of communication there. There's been a gap where someone wasn't communicative enough because, I just expected you to do that.
Right.
Whereas if it's an arrangement, it's like, hey, we both agree here that this is
what's necessary.
Of course. This is what's necessary. These are my non-negotiables. We walk into these relationships not really coming with non-negotiables because we don't, man, you know, I ain't had love in a while. You know what I mean? This is a good situation. I don't want to ruin it by saying the wrong thing.
Right.
But sometimes that wrong thing is the right thing. And you know what I mean? So.
Hold on.
Sometimes the wrong thing is the right thing.
Right.
But you got to feel it within your gut to just pull it out and be like, hey, I'll live with whatever consequence that's going to be. But at least I'm able to voice my opinion. And most women want the truth. Honestly, they hate it. And, you know, it may take them a while. You might piss them off and they, you know, hey, I'm through with you today. But they'll probably pick up that phone again and realize like, damn, you know, this was probably one of the realest guys I done spoke to. This is the first time a man actually kept it honest with me and told me straight up, this is how he felt. Now, as a woman, I have to internalize that and deal with it on a mature level because he was mature enough to come to me and just be honest. So we got to figure out the balance there and, you know, how much of the truth we want from the men. And, man, we got to be able to, you know, find a way to relinquish that and then just take, you know, whatever comes with that.
I agree. There's a lot of equity in truth and communication. I got this quote from Ryan Dumlatt that says, you can be wrong about something. You can be right about something and still be wrong. You can have the right answer and the wrong attitude. You can carry the right idea and deliver it with the wrong disposition. Just because you're standing on truth doesn't mean you stand on people's toes while telling the truth. Being correct doesn't give you a license to be careless. Moral maturity isn't always about holding correct positions. I think that quote is so fucking powerful because it's so much entitlement with being right. But when you're in a relationship, it gives you license and the wherewithal to make mistakes. There's power in making mistakes, and it's okay to be wrong. I hate getting in an argument with somebody who's intent upon being right, no matter how it feels to them or the other person. Like, that's the only goal.
I don't like them type people either.
I can't stand it. And I'm okay with being wrong as well, but I'm also secure in who I am enough to say, yeah, I'm wrong, but this is what I'm standing on. This is how I feel about it.
Facts.
And I have to take this quote in action and changing the dynamic of how I think so my actions can reflect that.
That's good. That's good, man. We always got to go back to the drawing board, man. Self-reflect, do self-development work. I know, you know, for me, these past, you know, couple months, I've just been really on a knowledge-seeking journey, whether that's through self-development, just knowing, learning and understanding more of my history, you know, doing breath work, things like that. Like, breathing is so critical. And I think we take breathing for granted because, you know, we wake up and it's like, all right, you know, today is today. But every breath, man, is crucial. And as men, we never take time. And that's why, again, I like Brunch with the Bros because it's almost like you run on the treadmill all day, every day as a man, constantly, and doing a ton of things. But you never have a moment to step off, take a deep breath, catch a water break, think about some things, and then get back to the workout. We just go on overdrive. We just continue to work out until we ready to crash out.
So you talk about community and referencing Brunch with the Bros. What do you think universally men want or need from other men?
I think just companionship. I think just knowing that my brother to the left of me, my brother to the right of me got my back. If we in the foxhole together, I know I can count on him to, you know, have bullets in that gun to shoot with me and shoot for me. I think a lot of men out here, we just don't have other men that shoot for us. You know what I mean? And we depend on the women to do that because that's just how we were brought up. The women always shot for us. Men was go out there, you know what I'm saying, go hunt, do what you got to do. And I may show you love if you bring something big enough for the village. Or I may disown you if it's too small and we can't eat.
Chris Rock said, the only people that get unconditional love are women, children, and pets.
Pets is hilarious.
And I also heard that Father's Day is the 16th when it comes to most celebrated holidays, behind Christmas and Mother's Day at number 2.
That's crazy. I mean, that's not crazy. I believe it because I was just having this question with a couple people or having this conversation. I was like, yo, I didn't really see much advertisement around Father's Day. Like, I don't know if it's just like, you know, people are like, to hell with fathers now, or, you know, I don't know what the percentage is nowadays of single women or, you know, broken homes. I don't know what that statistic is, but maybe that's a warning sign that, hey, it's more alarming than what you guys think it is. It's not necessarily about us not having marketing plans and stuff for you guys to be celebrated. But it looks like you guys don't even want to be celebrated your damn self.
Speaking of that, I'm a man who doesn't necessarily enjoy being celebrated.
But why is that though? Because this is the problem and the solution that we got to put in the nip in the bud.
Yeah, because we're talking about what men want. So for me personally, being celebrated feels undeserved sometimes. And that comes from imposter syndrome. But on the other end of it, every day is so high in stimulus that sometimes my celebration is just a lack of stimulation. Especially as a black man, stepping out of your door is so anxiety-ridden that sometimes I just want to sit in a chair or read a book or play my game or learn something new, get some money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those are the ways that I celebrate myself on a day-to-day. But let's just say it's my birthday, right? It's so much work to have all these people that want to celebrate you in different ways. And you get pulled in so many different directions that you don't even get to celebrate yourself.
That's true.
It becomes work. How you feel about celebrating yourself? How do you do that?
I mean, I love to celebrate myself for real. Sam get mad at me because I want to go all out and do extravagant things, which I feel like we need to do that though. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's important, man. And it's not because I want to, you know, spend a lot of money or flashy or anything like that. But it's like, yo, I really take for granted how hard I go and, you know, how dope I am, you know, how intelligent I am, the different people that I'm coming across and meeting and building these relationships that are really like sound relationships. Like, we take that for granted because it's like, oh man, it's just another person. But it's like, no, that's one step closer to you unlocking that door that you wanted to get into. So as you go along your journey, celebrate those little milestones, those monumental days or times in your life where it's like, you know, I appreciate my people that I got around me.
For sure.
So that's my take on that. I do got a good question for you though. Why do men pretend they don't want to be responsible for a woman but act resentful when she's independent?
I think that comes from what you said about expectation, right? Like, I think more times than not, men go through life trying to be what women want. And when there's a oxymoronic nature to the behaviors of women, which are pretty consistent, I think we question who and what we are and where our value stands. I think a lot of men think that all women want from us is for us to be providers, but it's not true. I think we've learned to be so transactional between each other that we don't know who the other counterpart is in essence. Like, men, there are a lot of men, well, most men, don't to the core know what it means to be a woman and vice versa. And I think that dives into or further illustrates what this topic is, right? Like, what do men really want? We really just want to be understood.
Right.
But that takes for us to communicate in truth where we place our value or what things are important to us. in ourselves and what we expect out of them. And I also believe expectations ruin relationships.
They do. They do. It's a bunch of gray area and uncertainties and it's clarity that it's kind of foggy. You don't know. And that's why I like that, because you know, when you find yourself with expectations, or your lady says, "Hey, I expected this from you." Now she's pissed. We talk about submission being expensive. This is where it becomes an expensive thing, because now you want to play the pacifying role. And when we pacify things as men, we go all out. You know, I want to make sure that you good. I apologize for not thinking of you. So let me go over above and beyond to do. And that's where it gets expensive. Now you going back looking at your pocketbook like, damn, I done blew 1,000, 1,500, 1,200, 20,000, 50,000. Because we got, you know, people out here spending money on women. And that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Love your woman. But if there's an expectation that she has that wasn't verbally given, or an agreement, or it turned into an agreement like, yeah, I'm doing that for you, then it's a lot of gray area. And you playing a lot of, like, again, catch up and damage control. Damage control is expensive.
It is. You're absolutely right. I think the worst place, one of the scariest places for a man to be is to be the object of a woman's fantasy. Or excuse my terminology, but the victim of her programming, right? On the contrary, women are programmed to think about what a man is before she even understands her relationship to one. I think fathers do daughters a disservice by telling them they're a princess every 3 seconds, or telling them what they deserve before they've earned anything from a man. Understanding what that relationship means, like the give and take of it. Even on the woman's side, like if you provide this as a woman, you should receive this. Understand what your contract is and the reciprocity of that relationship.
Now, I like where you're going, but my question to you would be, is it diminishing the value of the woman when you remove terms like princess, beautiful, queen, all of the endearment words that we use to give them that extra valuability, or, you know, valuable feel? Do you feel like that diminishes if you are one that's like, that is a disservice?
Only when you give them the entitlement of what a princess means and not the responsibility. Because even princesses have jobs in the court. But if you tell them that you just a princess because you a girl, yes, it does do you a disservice.
Okay.
Because you have a job, you have responsibilities, you have things that you have to do outside of what you do for yourself. The responsibility is not and has never been only on a man. But that's not the society we live in now, bro.
And I want to break down some quick statistics, y'all, for the cost of living versus the median income. We're going to use New York and Atlanta, 2 big cities, and what that looks like. So the estimated monthly expenses for a family of 4 is $6,298.60. The median household income is $79,713. The required annual income to afford the median rent in Manhattan is $178,880. In the Bronx, it's $126,520. So if you are one that wants to move to New York and you have a partner and y'all, you know, she has this expectation that you're going to hold her down and pay for these things when there hasn't been any agreement signed, sealed, and delivered on each side, this is what you're looking at in the city of New York. So now ask yourself, look how much of a financial burden that could possibly be for a man. And even if it's not a financial burden, look how taxing it is on the body and the mind of everything that you're doing to keep up with this particular lifestyle, because this is the expectation that your lady has set upon you. That did not come with any solidarity of an agreement. When you look in Atlanta, we're in Atlanta. So all my people here, estimated monthly expenses for a family of 4, $4,745.10. You $2,000 away, less than $2,000 away than being right there with New York. That's monthly expenses. Scott, I ain't trying to put you out there, but I'm sure you probably looked at your monthly expenses and you hovered around somewhere around there.
I'm a little higher.
Look at that. And so with that, how do you feel, bro?
I feel exhausted because the majority of my energy goes to making sure that regardless of anything, whether I get to enjoy my quality of life, that my lifestyle is taken care of. And that onus, I won't say falls completely on me. And I know men who take that onus on.
Mm-hmm.
But if, let's just say, for the beginning 50 years of my life, if all I'm doing is working to provide a lifestyle for myself and my extensions, i.e. my family, then what quality of life did I really have? You know what I'm saying?
Talk to him, man.
And I think there's a disconnect in the communication on what that means or what that feels like as a man, right? Who wants to provide for a family, who has that desire. Because there are men who don't have that desire and choose not to, even if they do have a family. And it's not because I want to be called a man. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like that's the miscommunication.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely believe that women think that men need the validation of being a man from a woman. I could give a fuck less.
Yeah.
But men need to know that in and of themselves.
Now, do you feel like there's a lack of having in some compartment within that man who needs that validation through the woman to be classified as a man? Or do you just feel like it's more of the sport behind this?
I think any interaction with a woman can be looked at as a game, right? Because there are a lot of roles you got to play, a lot of IQ you got to have, right? But the reward doesn't come from playing the game. The reward is the benefit of studying what your counterpart is and wants and needs. You pull the best out of another person by studying them, seeing what their strengths and weaknesses are, and then compounding what you bring to the table with what they have. And I think men miss the point of companionship.
100%.
Whether it comes from a man or a woman. Like, again, a lot of relationships are transactional now.
100%.
We look at what a person has, what a person can offer instead of what that person is. And the reason why humans are so socially driven is because we're supposed to connect with the other person's spirit as opposed to who they are in the world. And we miss out on so much equity between each other when we don't look inside and we just look at the exterior. You know what I'm saying?
And that, that contributes to the programming. I think programming has put us in that position to not look at it with the spiritual connection, but versus the physical form of it. Physically, what can you do for me?
Right.
And I think, one, it can never be fixed until each individual decides to go back and strip down everything that they once believed in. Because you can meditate all day, but if you leave meditation and go and eat Chick-fil-A or Longhorns or something like that, what did you meditate for?
Yeah. And even outside of the physical, economically and spiritually, if you do the work and then go back to where you lost the work at, then yeah, it's a double negative in that term.
It's a double negative. But there's always ways, man, around this. So it's not even about, we're not saying all this to say like, man, you can't afford this, so don't do it. If you got the drive and the ambition to put yourself in that position of affording it, afford it. But also add more vehicles to your situation so it alleviates a little bit more stress up off of you. So in case you do, hey, instead of it going out of my personal funds to fund this relationship, I got other avenues that I can get distribution from that can fund this as well. Right. So you got to be smart. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a lot of dumb decisions being made with a rich thought or with a rich mentality. And what we're not doing is
Caviar taste, Family Dollar pockets.
You know what I'm saying? Like we not taking the time to say, okay, yeah, cool. If I'm going to be, if it's all about expectations, well, let me make sure I got my proper shit set up behind me to accommodate for whatever expectation come my way.
I'm so glad you said that. Men and women hear my voice clearly because your expectations have to match your reality.
Yeah.
Women, you can't ask men for a designer bag that you ain't bought yourself yet. Let's just make that a rule moving forward. Men, you cannot expect your woman not to cheat if you're a serial cheater. You can't. You can't even expect that out of her. And still call yourself a man or a woman. Your expectations have to match your reality.
Period, man. So make sure you're getting your chicken up. You know, that was a little, you know, cost of living statistic breakdown for you, man. It's basically just saying get your chicken up. Get your chicken up, put your chicken in right places. It can alleviate a bit of stress off of you if your relationship is based off of expectations. Mm-hmm. But if you want a more healthier household, because it all starts with the home. So if your home is not in order, everything is in disarray. So for a better household, maybe think about having agreements. What do you agree with as my partner? What do I agree with as being your partner? And I'll even take it a step further. If you're even thinking about marriage, one thing me and Sim had talked about was like coming up with a list of things that we don't want to be married to. I think that's critical as well. We don't have that type of conversation with our partner. What don't I want to be married to? I think once you have that, that's an agreement. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. I know that you don't agree with that. You ain't going to agree with having a man that's making less than this. And I'm agreeing to it. I have to now live up to that. Mm-hmm. So thinking of things like that, man, could definitely, you know, shift a lot of the mentality and the thought processes that you have in your relationship that could be hindering you, holding you back, whether that's man or woman, and giving you guys the best possible foot forward in your situation so, you know, you both can live comfortably and happy.
I think that's solid, bro. So we've talked about what men want from women as well as men. What do you think, if you could think about it right now, what would you say you want from the world?
I would want the world to understand that surviving is superficial. And that's whether that's surviving in a relationship that, you know, isn't the best for you, whether that's just surviving in society, you know, if I wear this, I'm surviving in this circle, you know, I'm there's another day they fucking with me because I went out here and spent X, Y, and Z. Whole time they don't care about you. And the moment that you don't live up to that expectation or keep up with the Joneses, they willing to let you go. Yeah. So I think getting out of that notion that surviving is like the cool thing to do, I think that's the biggest thing that I would want us as a nation to start to reprogram ourselves and think about.
That's solid, bro.
What about you?
I think universally what men want from the world is, outside of acceptance, I think it's experience, like the opportunity for experience. I think more oftentimes than not, men have to fight tooth and nail, and I'm not saying women don't, but we have to fight tooth and nail to get pieces of an experience, right? Whether it's travel, whether it's economic growth, or even if it's just something as simple as taking your kid to a park outside of your neighborhood, right? That can be a daunting experience depending on your demographic or what you look like or what kind of clothes you wear or how you present to the world. And I would just say that I think a lot of men want to experience life through a different lens than they are afforded. And I would like for that to change.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. I just want us to get into the space of feeling like it's not okay if we don't carry it alone. Like, we lay with our person every day. How are we not having a conversation about building with that person? It's about building. If it's a, you know, if we just sitting here doing ISOs all day, well, shit, you go your way, I go mine. Or again, if we talking hoop terminology, why James Harden don't got a ring?
Mm-hmm.
He's an ISO baller by himself, carrying it alone.
Mm-hmm.
That alone should let you know that it takes a team.
Mm-hmm.
It takes effort. It takes communication. Hey, this is what I need you to do. I know you an ISO type player. I know you like to ball out dolo,
Mm-hmm.
but I need you over here though if we want to get to this championship.
Yep.
That should be the overall goal for us as a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Is getting to the top. So one, I can't be an ISO player. You can't. At some point, we got to find a way to communicate and come together.
I think we miss like the strategy of relationship, right? Like to your point, if you do have an ISO player, whether it be male or female, they gotta have a coach.
Got to.
You gotta have a coach. You gotta got somebody to draw up the plays and you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
execute them. And I think you'll never get everything out of one person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that expectation is unrealistic and it's unfair. Once you decide to be in a relationship with another person, it should stop being just about you.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like men and women miss that point. But I know for a fact that men want somebody to feel that way about.
Now, let me ask you, is it pride, pressure, or the system that's causing us not to think another way?
I think it's all of the above. But I don't think any of those are absent without the desire to want to do that ourselves.
Okay.
So you have to address you first before you address the system, before you address pressure or anything else. Any external force, you got to look within first.
Mm-hmm.
I think men have a hard time at looking at checking themselves. You find somebody scared of their shadow, they hate to see a mirror coming. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So look at me first,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, what are my setbacks? How do I stand in my own way?
Yeah.
As a man, or a man in relationship, or a man economically? How do I stand in my own way? And I guess emotional spreadsheet would be great for that too.
Yeah.
Where do I find myself in arguments most?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I fall out with my family and friends more often than not? Why am I isolated? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of those things are questions you can ask yourself and find a definitive answer if you're honest.
And I think the vulnerability of having financial conversation with your partner is tough, but I don't think we all realize how much intimacy that builds.
Yep. Stripping yourself bare. Being naked emotionally is one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced, bro.
I bet because I can share a similar experience as well.
Yeah, like those conversations that you have with your partner, where the lights is off, the TV off, and y'all just staring at the ceiling, not seeing shit, and just talking, cracking jokes, laughing, all that. That's the best experience anybody could share with their counterpart, because you get to see somebody at their bare roots. You know what I'm saying? In a judgment-free zone. And a lot of people don't even get to experience that with themselves, let alone another person.
So it makes me ask the question, like, how could a woman really even say they trust us when we don't even have the space, whether that's, directly or indirectly, to vocalize and say, hey, I'm struggling?
Because the desire to trust us is there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think innately women want to be able to trust men. And I think men get in the way of that just as much as women get in their own way.
Yeah.
So they don't have any wiggle room to establish or gain that trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I think men have to do a better job out of doing a tit-for-tat thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because essentially what it means to be a man is maintenance of their domain.
Yeah.
Right? You would sit at the head of the table and not the tail. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that's for a reason, because most women don't have the discernment to make decisions outside of emotion. It's just a fact. Not when those emotions are heightened to the point from where they're triggered from. But men, and it's a good and a bad thing, we dissociate everything. Right? Like we step outside of ourselves more times than not to just handle the world, let alone emotion. I think the reason why we're programmed to do that is so we can handle all of the bullshit that comes with life. Because if we were subjected to life without that programming, we'd be worse off emotionally than women are.
That's true. And my last question that I want to put out there, man, before we wrap this up, because this was a great one.
Oh, okay.
But I got to wrap this up. And if you like what you're hearing so far, man, or you like what you heard thus throughout this podcast today, make sure you like, share, subscribe, man. Doing Numbers Podcast. So, last question, Scott. And we talked about this before we began. Why do so many couples still treat money as his job and emotions as hers?
I think it's because it gives each person a scapegoat. Like, nigga, that was your responsibility. You were supposed to pay X, Y, Z. Or on an emotional side, no, I told you this. You supposed to handle my emotions because you handle emotions every day. But I think in a relationship, if you delegate responsibility to just one and not spread the responsibility, you're already doing yourself a disservice and walking towards failure anyway. I think most people don't ask that question because they know the answer.
And do you think that's the reason why it leaves a lot of nurturers financially lost in relationships?
Yeah, I do. I think any muscle you don't exercise, you lose it. Whether it's emotional or financial.
So I hope that from this podcast today, guys, you guys get a little glimpse of where the disparity lies within our own relationships.
Yeah.
And, you know, not having those conversations or being reluctant in having those conversations that can really get us over the hump and set us up for success.
Yeah.
Because if we got a partnership, work with that partner. Be there for them. Take the time to pour into their cup. Ask them a question. What do you need? If it's just you need to be heard, let me make sure I'm just sitting back and hearing you out. If you need help, make sure that you're able to vocalize that.
I said this in one of our earlier pods, like when we first started. Iron sharpens iron, but it only helps you to help somebody else. Right? And the person that you should feel most excited to help is the person you lay down with every day. David Banner said, I can't do business with somebody who cheat on their wife. Because if the person you sleep with can't trust you, I damn sure can. And the same can be said about you helping your partner. Whether it's the male or the female or whatever gender roles y'all assign, that person is still human. They still need a hand up.
And do emotional check-ins with your people, man, with your partner. Normalize asking, how are we doing? Just like you ask, how's the savings? Therapy and financial coaching as maintenance, not crisis tools. Transparency over ego. Admit when you don't know. Ask when you don't know. Be teachable, even if you're the man. And women, if the guy doesn't know, be there for him. Be a resource. Come together. We're a partnership. So if I don't know, and I won't say the agreement is, because there's expectations. Again, I was getting ready to say it. I expect you to know, but if that's not an agreement of yours, I need to know who I'm laying with. I need to know who I'm building with. Because if you can't agree to help me in the areas where I don't know, we're going to have a problem. And we're going to continuously have a problem.
And you won't know where to fill in the void. I use this. Maybe y'all can use it out there in your homes. Sometimes when I notice that my partner is like, just off they square. I'm like, what percentage you at? I'm like, I'm about 65% today. I know to bring the other 35. You see what I'm saying? Like, and the same can be said for me. I get in all types of moves. I could be asked the same question and give you a 15. But if you ain't got 85, at least I know not to expect that 85 from you. So it's just something for you to take home with you. Where you at today? I'm at 50%. Cool. I can bring the other 50. And it costs you nothing to bring an 85 you already had to your relationship.
That's it, man. I think we end on that. So make sure y'all tap in with us, man, every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Make sure you like, share, subscribe if you like what you hear. I see those followers. I see those subscribers are constantly increasing, man. We love to see it.
Yeah,
we love
y'all.
the support. We love to keep hearing y'all voices, man, in our comment sections. Make sure y'all reach out to us and tap in, man. We are real people. You can talk to us.
Man, did the Macarena to bring it home for y'all. Y'all better subscribe.
Y'all be good, man. Doing numbers.